Warning. This video and all other videos on this channel are for entertainment purposes only. The content of this video and all other videos on this channel are the opinions of the creator only and do not constitute legal, trading, investment, or financial advice of any kind. Investing carries a high level of risk and the majority of retail clients lose money. Do not invest any capital unless you understand the risks and you are prepared to lose it all. Right, hello and welcome to Camel Finance. I'm your boy Camel. Welcome to Friday. So, Bitcoin is topped, and I'm not picking on JT here. It's just I see a lot of people in the comment section as well saying that Bitcoin is topped, and there is a non-zero probability that the top is in for Bitcoin. That was the left translated cycle, and it's just down only for another, I don't know, 2.5, 3 years into the end of 2026 cycle though, right? Maybe that's a possibility, but remember, especially if you've been here before, you know, the whole way up, I was saying there's going to be doubters, there's going to be people calling it a bull trap, there's going to be people that don't believe it. Then when we finally make the all-time high, we obviously weren't going to slice right through it. Obviously, there was going to be some level of reaction at the all-time high. And I said that these people would turn into the double top, or in Bitcoin's case, the triple top gang. And sure enough, okay, we're seeing it. So all I can really do is be honest about two things. Number one, is that, like I said, it is a non-zero probability, although I don't think it's very likely at all that the top is actually in now for Bitcoin. And number two, if we're being really honest, we called people calling for the double top and the triple top, right? So all I can really do is look at this and say, well, yep, this makes perfect sense. This is what I expected to see. In the meantime, this was posted yesterday. So today, I suggest to you there is around 16 days to go until we find a cycle low for Bitcoin and come out of that cycle low swinging. Of course, if we don't, then we know our invalidation levels. We know we can breathe a sigh of relief with the left translated cycle. I'm also thinking this would be a good time to point out, in case anyone is unaware, I don't want the left translated cycle. A lot of people seem to think I want a left translated cycle so I can say, ha, I told you so. Remember, I don't want the left translated cycle. What I want is a nice, clearly visible right translated cycle that is easy to identify, because number one, that will be easier for me to sell the top at, and number two, it will give us a higher overall Bitcoin price. If we left translate, it's more difficult to deal with for multiple reasons, and we can expect a lower number for the top. So I don't want a left translated cycle, okay? But as a cycle trader, I know what they look like. I've seen enough of them, and I unfortunately haven't been able to rule this out yet. So in the meantime, like I said, around 16 days, we'll find a low, and then we're going to get a little bit more information. In the meantime, there is plenty of news in the Bitcoin space, okay? BlackRock says the sovereign wealth funds, pension funds, and endowments will trade spot Bitcoin ETFs in the near future, okay? So is this whole move just designed to let a few of these big players in? Perhaps. Speaking of the big players, Europe's second largest bank buys the BlackRock spot Bitcoin ETF shares. So have a look at this, okay? Whilst people are panic selling, some of the big boys are buying, okay? That's something I would take note of personally. Each month, Jack Dorsey's Square is going to be investing 10% of their gross profit from Bitcoin products into Bitcoin itself, okay? So again, perma bid underneath Bitcoin. And did you know that new Bitcoin whales, including the spot ETF buyers, are now currently underwater? Okay, so the max pay might be around 51. I'm seeing a lot of people call for 50. I'm seeing a lot of people call for 53. I'm seeing a lot of people call for 44, even 40K. I'm going to be honest. I don't think you're getting it. I don't think you're getting it. I think probably what we're going to do is trap a bunch of balls, roll over one final time into that cycle low and go. And I don't believe that's going to give you a very nice, you know, clear, obvious 50, 51, 53 or 44K. I just don't think you're getting it, right? I think you're going to get a slightly lower low at best, probably going to get more like a double bottom. I'll show you the chart in a minute. But the reason I wanted to point this out, okay, is because it just goes to show that the institutional buyers and the big boys, they're just as dumb as everyone else, right? They show up, they buy high, and they panic sell the lows into the cycle lows, just like anyone else does, right? So you can breathe a sigh of relief there if you're one of those people, I guess. You know, you're not alone, is my point. And speaking of these ETF panic sellers and outflows, okay, on Thursday, the ETF experienced net outflows of around $34 million. I don't need to read these out because I'm sure you can read. On the flip side, okay, over in Hong Kong, their ETFs have totaled $290 million inflows on the first day, which is almost 30% of the Bloomberg estimate of $1 billion within 2 years. So if we can maintain anywhere near this, okay, then we are indeed going to come out of that cycle low swinging. I also saw this, and I wanted to bring this up for a number of reasons, okay? This is getting the Bitcoin community excited. This is M2, okay, the money supply in blue, and you can see that at the hard right edge, it's just starting to flip back to positive. Now, I'm seeing a lot of Bitcoiners and a lot of people in this space say that that's it, print to go burr, what comes next is way more printing, and thus Bitcoin way, way higher. But I think it's important to understand the nuance here, okay? There is an approximately 18-month to 19-month lag. Anything you do here that doesn't show up in the data, like the CPI, etc., for around 18 months. Maybe CPI, sometimes you can get it, depending on the amount of velocity in the system. You can sometimes get CPI to reflect it around 12 months lagged. But typically speaking, 12 to 18 months for it to manifest in CPI, and around 18 months for it to work its way into the markets and into the economy. So with that said, if you're getting excited about this and thinking printer goes burr, okay, it might do. But it's unreasonable to expect any of that to have a knock-on effect for at least 12 to 18 months. And since we know about this lag, okay, we have only really seen up to about here. None of this yet has shown up in the CPI data. None of this portion here, okay, has shown up in risk assets. All of this is entirely not priced in yet. It hasn't yet found its way into the system. So if you're one of these people that's saying printer goes burr, okay, this is really exciting, Bitcoin's going to rocket higher. Bitcoin is going to rocket higher. But that's because it's going to find that cycle low and put in, most probably, its left translated cycle top before an extended bear market. During this extended bear market, everyone will be going, well, look, printer goes burr. This is going up. How come it's not pumping Bitcoin, right? And it's not going to be pumping Bitcoin because we're still going to be experiencing this part of the M2 supply, the snapback, okay, into that deflationary bust during all of this. And this is what I believe is going to cause people to buy the dip all the way down, going, well, they're printing. Yeah, well, like I said, everything lags by around 12 to 18 months. So as ever, one day at a time. Also, if you scroll down in the comments, you can see this. People are saying like, oh, this is fantastic because they're increasing the supply whilst they're telling us higher for longer. But remember, I've been speculating the whole time. In white, it's been written here, okay? Are they forced to cut at the top? Do they cut at the top? Is that what causes the top? And I've been saying that I think something breaks. Okay, I think something breaks. I think this is not a voluntary cut from the Fed. I think something breaks and forces them to cut. And again, everyone's spewing this nonsense of higher M2, right? Print to go burr, everything up forever, no more recessions, no more bear markets, no more cycles, higher for longer on the interest rates, okay? But remember, the signal is the 2-year yield, okay? Here it is in green. When this starts to pull back, it leads the Fed funds rate lower. So whilst everyone is talking about, up until, the FOMC this week, people were putting rate hikes back on the table, weren't they? And now they go, okay, maybe no rate hikes, but higher for longer, higher for longer. Well, this is starting to lead the Fed funds rate lower. Okay, we're starting to see the 2-year yield come off, and historically speaking, that does force them to cut rates. Now, if you're not convinced, here's the 2-year yield. Does this thing look bullish to you? First, early warning signs breaking down from here. We'll probably see something like this. Okay, how do we know that? Because we've got the negative divergence up here, okay, bearish divergence on the RSI versus the price. And so, of course, if this thing is going to start to roll over and lead lower, then it tells us to be open to seeing rate cuts much earlier than the Fed want anyone to know or believe about, much more in line with having a parabolic blow off top that culminates in them being forced to cut rates because everything is blown up. And if you're still not convinced, here is the 3-month T-bill in blue against its 200 moving average in orange. Okay, what do you notice at the hard right edge? Crossover has occurred, okay? Just like here, just like here, just like here. So to all the people that have spent this week saying blow off top is invalidated, okay? Blow off top is invalidated. I'm just laughing because I don't know, it's not funny. It's like a nervous laugh. It's a nervous laugh because I know what comes next, okay? If we continue to hold, if we continue particularly to take out these highs and put in this blow off top, then what comes next is this big deflationary bust. What comes next is everyone looking at the wrong portion of this graph. Print to go burr. No. None of this has shown up yet. Everyone looking at the Fed saying, well, the Fed says higher for longer, bro. The Fed says higher for longer. Yeah, well, that is not what the bond market thinks. That is certainly not what the 2-year yield thinks. And that is not what the 3-month T-bill thinks either. So the weekend's deep dive is going to be fantastic. We are still not out of the woods, but we are getting closer. If I hop into an S&P 500 chart, for now at least, okay, still holding above the cycle low, still making higher lows, still holding above the upward sloping red support line. All we need to do is break out this downward sloping blue resistance line, okay, and it is on. It is on. It is party time. The same is true of the NASDAQ. So far, higher lows, holding support, holding above the cycle low, looking for a confirmation via a trendline break in blue. And if we can get that, then again, it is on. Same for the Dow, right? It was chopping this line. So far though, higher lows are being made. Looking at breakout today of this little smaller flag right here. And if we can get above that swing high from around 38.5 by the end of the week or early next week, then again, it's going to be on, right? It's going to be on. This is going to be for real, and we're probably entering bananas mode. Also, here's the Dixie, right? I'm seeing a lot of people get really excited about this. Now, I would say so far it's just kind of following my yellow squiggle, my arbitrary yellow squiggle. Nobody, as I've said over and over and over again, wants this more than me, okay? Nobody wants that more than me, but a lot has to change for me to believe this. A lot has to change for me to get bearish. We at least need to lose this upward sloping blue support line. So I'm not in the camp of people that's looking left and looking at horizontal levels and saying, yep, this thing is about to roll over. I don't believe it is just yet. We need to lose that upward sloping blue support for me to become bearish. Like I said, nobody wants that more than me. Remember, we did quite a good job. In fact, a very good job, if I do say so myself, at picking the top back here and then targeting the mid-90s. That was the target for a very, very long time, okay? But in this neighborhood, I didn't want to accept that was a 3-year cycle low. I wanted one more rollover into that mid-90s so that I could say, ha, perfect, cool, right? Right from the top, right to the mid-90s. So nobody wants this to roll over to the mid-90s more than me. Admittedly, if it did, I don't really think I can take credit for that because I've had to flip bullish in the middle, so I'm not really sure if that call is valid anymore. But like I said, nobody wants that plunge to the mid-90s more than me, mostly because that would just make the entire move for Bitcoin, for gold, for the stock market, it'll make it so explosive to the upside, right? But there's so much work to do before I can flip back to bearish. At the moment, I've been forced by the market to pivot my stance to become bullish, and as per the whole deflation idea, where we see this thing bid, as per the dollar milkshake theory that I put out earlier in the week or end of last week, a lot has to change here before the dollar actually starts to look bearish. Gold is still behaving weird. Is that the 2 drives? Is it complete? This should be bottoming, but I still see no sign of a breakout for gold. So keeping a close eye on this. Not entirely sure. I'm not going to modify this count just yet. I want to see what happens because it could be a failed cycle and a day 3 high, and that would tell us we're going to go down a lot further. But I think the cycles are bottoming. They should be anyway. We're going to find out in the next couple of sessions. And last but not least, of course, we've got Bitcoin. So, I mean, overall, the thing is still doing Bitcoin things, right? We can drag this position over a little bit more. And we'll be looking to add a third and final position out of this cycle low, then be looking to dump the entire the entire lot at the top if possible. For now, though, I still kind of expect to see us find the cycle low and come out of his swing in. If I move this out of the way, we certainly need to see this downward sloping blue resistance line broke before I can even entertain a bottom being in. I've seen an awful lot of people play this bounce and say that's probably the low and maybe we're going to do something like this. That's entirely possible, okay? And if that's the case, then I'll just get long out of there. But when we get a failed cycle like we've got here, okay, it tells me to be open to seeing a back test before a lower low into that cycle low and go. How low it goes is anybody's guess. I have absolutely no clue. Nobody does, okay? There'll be plenty of people that tell you they know, but nobody knows. So I just want to keep taking it one day at a time. We're getting very, very close now. We're only around 16 days, something like this. Maybe instead of undercut that low, we get like a double bottom. That wouldn't surprise me at all because I keep seeing more and more people targeting absurdly low numbers all the way down here. So the more people are waiting to buy the dip, then the more easy it is to upset them all by only giving a retest of the lows or even a slightly higher low. That wouldn't surprise me at all. Either way, though, I'm sure we're going to be able to clearly identify some kind of pivot point somewhere between, I don't know, 61 and let's say 54k, somewhere in that neighborhood. I'm sure there's going to be a clearly identifiable swing low to buy inside that timing window. We'll get long, and then, like I said, over and over again, I'm looking to come swinging out of here on towards our left translated cycle top. If we don't, something is wrong under the hood. But as always, I'll come back on Saturday, I'll do the deep dive, and we'll observe how the market closes this Friday, because we're still not out of the woods, but we may well be able to get out of the woods as of the end of today's session. If you're a member of any level, look out for the members requests video I'm going to do in a minute. If you're a level 3 member, look out for the video tomorrow, getting ready to take advantage of this Bitcoin cycle low and all the crypto stocks and everything else. And to everyone else, I hope you're doing well in life. Take care from me. All the best. Cheers. Bye.